bought an air pump that actually came with multiple tubings, hoping that it would just like pump mass airflow into the prop that we were setting up. We hooked up the tubing to the sieve using zip ties. Next, we took a styrofoam head and cut it in half with a hacksaw because there's no other way to do such a surgical procedure. After guesstimating area needed for mechanics, we started segmenting off chunks of the styrofoam with a styrofoam cutter. Then we completed the hollow channel up through the neck into the skull cap. Then we inserted the airflow tubing with the mesh into the head so that it fits snug with the skull cap on top. Next, we got a pool noodle, freehanded a design, and cut to shape with a styrofoam cutter. Next, we inserted the PVC with a loose but secure joint to create the slight motion when it shook. We're eventually going to fuse a latex mold of the actor's face to the prop, but we needed to practice with the materials, so we sculpted a quick face mold and slapped on the K-Fix. We applied one layer of plaster wrap to help the mold hold its shape. Once dried, it was time to pull it off, and we have a tendency of breaking things, so we took it slow. Any type of face peeling, you don't want to be rushing anyways. Enjoy. Once dry, peel another face. We skimped out on material in time, so the nose came out way too small. You can see the imperfections and bumps caused by the K-Vex not being fully smoothed out over the mold surface during application. But the ribs and extra bone structures we sculpted are visible and still clear. Now back to the FX prop. After the latex prop was dried, we realized that it was way too big to fit into the neck channel. While the cutter was out, we added the protrusion point at the top of the skull. Once we knew that it fit, it was time for the airbrush application. Base layers of green shades, and then added random red and purple shades in different spots. Black accent lines just round everything out. The latex face has been fully dried and cured, so we threw on an airbrush base of a light red, then used up the last of the green and brown. Back to the air pump as we apply our first test run. Sadly, epic fucking fail. It's all good. Deconstruct, evaluate, redesign. With one solid airflow chamber, it'll have enough power. Add a secondary chamber using a Y coupling and a ball valve to control the effect of the prop. Then finally add a lid so there's not any open chambers for air to escape, but in turn will cause the air to cycle inside the chamber and force out the effect material. Measure 3 times, fuse once. Still too much frustration, we glued the ball valve pivot opening on the top instead of the bottom. This would have caused the material to have disrupted flow through the prop. Prop effect test 2, a success. Moving on to the squibs. First, we needed to fuse the top and the bottom piece of the skull with plaster wrap. We need to smooth out the seam so later on when we apply the latex it'll have a smooth finish. Then we make some final adjustments to the inside of the prop so everything fits. Next we get some squib tubings, wrap it, tape it, and slice a couple of slits in it. Prop on set will have a different material, but we are going to be using stage blood for testing. Squib testing 1, success. Now it's time to stage the prop with the squibs for final testing.